Trekcast.
The galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast.
There we are.
Someday.
Is that skipping for anybody else, or is that just me?
Was it like?
No. Yeah, it was weird.
Okay.
It was weird. I didn't see it was it last week or the week before? I think it was the week before, where I just didn't see it at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah, because I listened to last week's episode this morning, like 2 hours ago. Yeah.
Bronson starting out hot. I saw Barbie yesterday.
All right, what was she wearing?
Yeah.
I mean, if you saw Margot Robbie, that would be I'd be interested in hearing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chad, how you been?
Now we can hear you, Dan.
You couldn't hear me before?
Well, you were.
Yeah, you know what? I think when I start StreamYard and I already have my headset plugged in, it doesn't connect. And if I unplug it and plug it back in, that happened a while ago. And so I usually remember to do that. And I didn't
just had to
until
reverse
just
the
now.
polarity.
I did.
Connect the streams.
So I hopped in the van and I realized I'm kind of thirsty. I should have brought a drink out. So I went looking back in like the snack pack that my wife always has in here. And I didn't even know they made this anymore.
Oh,
Sunny
wow.
D. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So today's episode of Trekcast is brought to you by Sunny D.
Very nice.
It's pretty good. There we go. Now I want a Yoo-hoo.
I don't know about that.
Yoo-hoo.
I like those.
That's
things.
Yahoo.
I know. I just.
Oh man.
Bringing back all the
no
old...
purple. I was said to myself, how long until someone makes a purple stuff reference after you say Sunny D? So thank you for that.
Ty
Chad,
J,
Chad,
as someone
you
who's
sound
been through an IRS audit, yeah, I'd rather see the Barbie movie than another IRS audit. I've gone through a few, so no, thank you.
Boy.
The Barbie movie was hilarious.
You saw it?
Yeah, I saw it. It was hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Scott, those are his wife's sunglasses.
Come on. Come on. They are. I forgot mine. So I went through the center console and what else we got? Oh, all right.
We got more snacks?
Yeah, my kids love this. Not crazy about the name.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We always have Pirate Booty. Yeah.
Pirate Booty.
It's gluten free. You bet.
Yeah,
It's gluten free.
Yeah.
It is gluten free. Yeah. So we have that.
That's a bonus.
You know what the trick is with those like puff stuff? Is you eat them with chopsticks so you don't get it all over your fingers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a coworker who eats Cheetos with a fork out of the bag.
Yeah.
Then you can practice all your stuff, right?
That's right.
Practice eating all your chopsticks.
But then you don't get the powder all over you. It's perfect.
Yeah. It's good.
That's funny.
Chad, how was your vacation?
Vacation was great. It was 9 days out at the beach, seaside, Santa Rosa area. It's about halfway between Destin and Panama. Oh, closer to Panama Beach, really, and Laguna Beach, which Laguna Beach is gorgeous, by the way.
Yeah,
if no one's ever been in Florida, it's beautiful. You actually get actual blue water there, like the emerald blue water there. So saw some dolphins off the coast a little bit while we were there. Didn't go out on a boat to do the dolphin excursion thing or any of that kind of stuff. That's too rich for my blood, but we had a good time. So
good.
So with that, let's start with the bad news.
Yeah, let's start with the bad news.
So
yeah,
I cannot make STLV now as of Monday of last week. I had to cancel my plans. I had to Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
cancel flights, the whole 9 yards. So can't make it. Work is extremely busy right now. Work is kind of what's in the way.
Yeah.
I would have had to reschedule some things work wise and or just fly out like midday on a Saturday just to fly out to somewhere else for work midday on a Sunday. That just didn't. I would be absolutely no fun because the week before and the week after is going to be extremely busy for me. We're talking 12, 13-hour days and traveling and everything else. And I wouldn't be any fun. I would be exhausted. I'd probably just sleep in the damn hotel until I got on another plane. So,
right.
I couldn't do that. And I couldn't do the thing with work. So I feel like this isn't the first time that I've had to cancel stuff on you guys, and I feel awful. Hopefully with you guys,
it's not
correct?
just it's
not
life,
just man. Yeah,
it's not just you. I made a baby 4 years ago, and we didn't do it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But
you
still,
know, the pandemic screwed us
2
years in a row.
Right.
So yeah, you did screw us 2 years, but you're tied with the pandemic, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to change my name to As Bad as the Pandemic.
As bad as the pandemic. Yep.
I feel like it's not 100% clear for everyone. So guys, we're not going to STLV. None of us.
Yeah. We were gonna get there. We were gonna get to that. Daniel and I talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
And what ultimately stuck a fork in it is I said to Daniel, as a married father of 2 small children, it's Chad 19. That's the as a married father with 2 children, it's difficult enough for me to justify, not to my wife, to myself, to justify to myself taking a week and going to adult Disneyland without the family, because that's what Vegas is. It's adult Disneyland. Yeah. So it's hard enough for me to justify that. It's even harder to attempt to justify it 2 years in a row, because we would want to do it next year with Chad, with the 3 of us, because that's the goal. The goal is to get the 3 of us out there. So ultimately, I kind of stuck a fork in it and said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do 66% of Trekcast in Las Vegas this year and 0% next year. So,
and I can't go unsupervised. So
I need an adult.
Yeah,
little Ocho goes crazy all by himself.
That's right.
Is that what we're getting at?
That's right. Yeah.
So
I need to be wrangled.
Oh boy,
we are super bummed about it, but I think it's the best decision based on the circumstance.
Oh, Scott.
This freaking guy.
He's messing with. He's totally trolling. He's 100%.
Yeah,
trolling.
I know.
They see me trolling. They hating.
Even though
he wants, you know what it is?
Look at me, I'm riding dirty.
He wants your job in the worst way.
He does.
You're slacking.
He
sees that you're slacking, and he's like, "Hey, I can go."
Dan, did you get his resume? He said he was
going to
send that to you. Yeah,
I did. It was on the. It was on the nice paper.
It was on the nice paper.
The watermark said, "If Scott can, you can."
Oh man.
Yeah.
Actually, the watermark says, "If Chad can't, Scott can."
Scott can.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
That's right.
I was just thinking the same exact thing. I was like, wait. I got a last Sunday, Rambo, who comes on here, who's and trolls us sometimes in chat, who's also I do the other podcast with on Sunday nights.
Wait, you have another podcast?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Thanks for covering for me, Chad, says Scott.
It's a trick coup.
Yeah. It's a mutiny.
That's right.
He couldn't tell what was going on, and so for 2 weeks in a row, I really hadn't said too much about this show, but for 2 weeks in a row, I wasn't there. He knew I was gone because we weren't doing that show. I wasn't doing that show either.
Right.
And he listens to last week's show, and in the first 30 seconds, Dan makes a comment about someone getting fired, but there's no mention after that of me. So he texts me and he's like, "I guess you got fired." And I said, "Yeah, when you don't show up 2 weeks in a row, they replace you on that show. It's brutal." And he goes,
That's
"Oh,
right.
I guess I should do the same thing." And I said, "Rip."
That's awesome.
So,
oh man.
oh
Well,
Yeah.
since we're talking about STLV, we should get to the news, and we'll start with that.
Okay.
So let's do that.
Star Trek news.
All right. So our first news story is just some updates on STLV. It is, yes, still happening. It is still going on. We have had some new cancellations. The biggest one is Jack Quaid will not be there. So Boimler will not be there.
That's too bad.
Yeah. Also,
I'd love to meet that guy, honestly.
Yeah,
I know I've said famously before, I don't really care to meet these actors. I'd want to meet the characters they play. I have a few exceptions to those rules. He's one of them.
Yeah, he seems like an interesting guy.
He does.
Yeah.
Something.
I love the boys too. So
yeah,
something from the crossover that didn't hit me until later on was at the end of that episode. Like Jack Quaid, he plays Ransom, right?
Yeah.
No.
Jack Quaid is Boimler. Jack
Quaid
Boimler.
plays Boimler.
Jack Quaid is Boimler. Who plays Ransom?
Oh,
that's
what's
Jerry
his name?
O'Connor.
Husband, yeah.
Jerry O'Connor. Okay, yeah. So when Jerry O'Connell sees the poster of Una, he comments about how she's the hottest babe in the universe or something.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's married to her in real life.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't catch that the first time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, bowing out, we shall say, is Neelix, Ethan Phillips, and Ronald D. Moore. So
I have a feeling they're all going to be bowed out by the time we get to that day.
Well,
I just don't.
That was my suspicion. But there was a smaller convention on the East Coast this weekend, and a lot of the Star Trek people were there. Terry Farrell and Dax was there. Jeffrey Combs was there.
Okay, those are two people who aren't tied to anything current, though.
No, they are. They're still in the unions.
Well, I guess that's true because SAG is just SAG, not just Trek. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, yeah, and a few others were still at conventions. So, as is Zachary Quinto was just announced to be joining STLV this year. He had not been previously announced. So, he's clearly still in the unions. So
that's weird.
Yeah. He's going to be doing
an interesting kind of different guy. Like
yeah.
He's different.
What would have been cool, and I'm sorry we missed out on this, they're doing photos with him and Ethan Peck. You can get the two Spocks together. That would have been kind of cool.
Okay. That's weird.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, I honestly, when I think of Spock anymore, obviously I still think of Leonard Nimoy, but I really think of Ethan Peck more than Zachary Quinto by far. By far. Ethan Peck is so good at it. His creepy ass smile in the crossover episode was in Boimler's reaction. I mean, I was laughing. I had AirPods in while I was watching that episode.
Yeah.
Last night because I finally caught up with the last two. That one and the Cloak one with the Klingon dude, and I was laughing so hard. My wife was like, "What are you watching?" And I couldn't even hear. And she finally comes down and taps my shoulder. She's like, "What are you watching?" And she's looking up at the screen. She can't tell what the hell I'm watching because of the, it's crossover. She's like, "Who's that guy? I've never seen him before." And I'm like, "It's crossover. It's Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds. It's hilarious." She's like, "I've never heard you laugh at Star Trek like this."
Yeah.
Well, you've never watched me watch Lower Decks then. I mean, well, she hasn't because I usually watch that in a hotel room or something.
Right.
But
yeah,
it was a great episode.
No, I think people will still be there. There's a handful that are bowing out, and there might be still more, but
yeah. So I have a question about that. This is I was the audience for this show for the last 2.5 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So why in the hell is Michelle Hurd a big deal in the SAG union?
Because she's the
because she was elected. Yeah, she was elected to a board position. That's all.
Yeah.
The same reason you have, if the auto workers, have a union, why is the guy who puts the wheels on the president because everyone else voted for him. That's
she
all
must
it is.
she must be a hell of a nice lady and a hell of a good actress, and we've just never noticed it because I can't stand Raffi. That's Raffi, isn't it? Michelle Hurd?
Yeah. In all her interviews, she's great. Like, she seems like a cool person.
You know, not to belittle her, but you know, she's a mid-level actress. She has the time. No, I'm serious. She has.
No, I'm laughing at Scott's thing.
Oh,
we talked about this last week, Chad.
Yeah, but she has the time for a position like this. Tom Hanks doesn't have the time to be the president of SAG. I think wasn't Ronald Reagan a SAG president?
I think he was a former SAG president. Yeah.
You know, and Ronald Reagan was he was a mid-level actor. He wasn't, he wasn't a blockbuster actor.
What was his best movie? Dinner for Bobo or something like that?
Oh, I don't know.
With the chimp. He did a movie with the chimp. Anyway,
that was before they did CGI chimps.
Yeah,
this is back in my day.
Yeah. But no, also, like, Michelle Hurd has been a guest star in a lot of shows, so she probably knows a lot of people.
I just never even heard of her before until
there's a million of those actors you've never heard of.
Yeah,
that have been everywhere.
They get a salary for that too. It's not a volunteer thing.
Yeah, they get paid.
So if you're not the richest actor in Hollywood, but you have the time to do it,
right?
I mean, why not?
Yeah. All right, makes sense.
Okay. And our next news story comes to us from Star Trek movie or trekmovie.com, and a Paramount executive vows that this will not be the end of Star Trek Prodigy. Talks of season 2. Yeah, I know.
What it's like they don't even know what they're talking about anymore.
No.
They have no direction over there. 60 days ago it was, the home of Star Trek, every series, every episode. They stopped saying that recently. And then they're like, nope, it's out. And now, nope, this is not the end of it. I mean, what are we doing? What are we talking about here?
I have a theory to that.
I can tell you the news story.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just saying.
We could do that. I mean, I could tell you
why.
The story.
I'm just trying to be Alex Jones over here. Where's my tinfoil hat?
Do your theory.
Let's see if my theory lines up with your
The
facts.
truth? Yeah.
With the truth, right?
Okay.
Because I only get my news from you, so I haven't read anything, right? So I mean,
that's
and
true.
I'm being serious. Like I joke about that, guys, but honestly, I never. Like, I have one podcast I listen to for news stuff, and then Daniel. That's it. I'm dead serious. I could care less.
Tucker
Anyway,
Carlson and Daniel Reyes. That's it. That's where you get all
that's all his news.
No, it's not Tucker, but good one, David Sachs. It's the All In podcast.
Oh God, they're so biased.
They are. I love those guys. They're great. Anyway, so my theory is that when they started touting that with the everything for Trek, every episode, every movie, whatever, that they were started touting that before the whole SAG thing happened, before all of the strike stuff happened, before the writer stuff got into an issue, all of that, right, is when they were touting that. And as soon as all those things started coming into play, that's when they stopped. And I think there's an issue there somewhere, somehow, that keeps them from being able to say that or do that or continue to push everything into one bundle area with that whole issue. Damn, my computer's going to die probably here. I don't know what's going on. It's giving me errors. Anyway, so if I go away and come back, that's my theory on that end of it, is that somehow those two are tied. It's too coincidental. And it also still makes sense, regardless of Paramount Plus's issues, right? And actually more so with monetary issues. If there's something tied in, copyright, legalese, whatever, with either the SAG union, writer strike, the whole 9 yards, that then it somehow gets all of that other stuff involved, that even just makes more sense why they put a pause on it for now.
So they have pulled it completely from their streaming service, right? You cannot see Prodigy anymore. It's not on Paramount.
I don't mean just Prodigy. I mean the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Prodigy included, but I mean like the whole thing. I don't think Prodigy was popular. That's why they got rid of it.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, that's had to be what it is.
Yeah.
But what the executive was talking about is, and they've said this like a month ago when they first pulled it, is that they're trying to find a new home for it. The season 2 is pretty much done. Like they're just wrapping up the last ends. It's been not shot because it's a cartoon, but produced. All the voice work is done. It's edited basically. It's pretty much done. So they could throw it up on Paramount Plus by the fall and be fine, but they're not going to do that. They're going to take the tax break and remove it. What they're hoping to do is sell it to another streamer and make money off of it. What they
so Nickelodeon wasn't wanting to just pick it up and pay for it?
Apparently not. So it wasn't popular enough for Nickelodeon.
Which means, guys, guess what? You should freaking walk away from it. Like, stop.
Yeah, well, animation takes so long to produce. They do it pretty far in advance. So it's typical most cartoons get 2 seasons because they're banking on it being a success. So it wasn't. So now they're looking for a new home. Yeah. My thought is this: when they first started Discovery and Picard, they were making good money internationally, selling it to Prime and Netflix. And they did make a lot of money doing that. Then they roped everything together into Paramount Plus. They're losing money hand over fist, just like every other streamer. And so now they're panicking just like every other streamer. And so they're going to try to go back and sell it to make money. That seems to make sense for what they've done. You also have to remember they're losing Discovery soon. They've lost Picard. It's Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds is all that's left. So that's kind of where we're at with things. But yeah, the executive basically just says, guys, it's a great show. We love it. And we're going to try to find a new home for it. That's why he's saying people have not seen the end of it. So.
Yeah. All right.
And then our last news story comes to us from giantfreakingrobot.com. Normally I would avoid these or just tell you it's a rumor, but this is kind of funny because they're taking I guess now an X post, not a tweet, from writer Michael Jan Freeman, who wrote a lot of novels back during Star Trek the Motion Picture, that kind of time frame. He was given a bunch of, he says back then he was given a bunch of Gene Roddenberry's kind of unfinished works and told to make something out of it, to make a novel. And so he said basically like he was excited because he loved Gene Roddenberry, but this material he was given was just really, really bad. And they wanted to make a novel called The God Thing. And basically what it was is some sort of using God versus the Enterprise. And the climax would have been Kirk has a fist fight with an alien who has taken the image of Jesus. So Kirk.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I thought that was just goofy and weird. And it's real. It's from Gene Roddenberry's unused writings. So.
Well, as what's his name from the documentary said, sometimes Gene's ideas were wackadoodle.
Yep.
And there you go.
Yeah. The Friedman also went on to say, he's like, I love Roddenberry, but this stuff was just so bad.
Well, I mean, not.
So the question is though, why does Jesus need a starship?
I mean, what kind of fighting style does Jesus use? Muay Thai? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
No, he uses the Vulcan neck pinch. That's all he needs to do is touch you and you're dead.
Well, I mean, his father was a Jewish carpenter, so I would say judo.
There you go. Yeah.
I already said that, Daryl.
He's slow. He's slow on the typing. He was typing and you said it, and then he's like, screw it, I'm going to hit enter anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, there's a slight delay between us and what the chat sees, like 30 seconds.
It is, yeah.
So, all right. That's all the news stories.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, everybody, you're listening to Trekcast, the galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast. I'm back. It's Chad, and of course, Daniel and Dan. So,
all right. 25 minutes in, and we're doing the intro. Good job. Good job.
All right. Let's get to the main topic.
Fun will now commence.
Oh, boy.
It reminds me of our first couple of episodes, which I now want to go back and listen to. I mean,
Oh God, why?
Oh,
I know.
I did that recently. I went back and listened to like the first or second episode, and yeah,
Yeah. We tried.
It was fun.
We tried very hard.
Hey, we're having fun.
Yeah. It was very
there you
fun.
go. So we just had season 2, episode 8, Under the Cloak of War. Man, this was a heavy episode.
It was a heavy episode.
It was heavy. It was
Yeah.
heavy.
Just what you want right before the musical.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know what would have been amazing?
What's
if
that?
This was the musical. Imagine this story, but they're singing it.
Just singing
come
about
on.
war crimes?
Yep. Come on, take some risks, Paramount.
There you go.
Yeah.
Megas who John Wick has nightmares about.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was all of this stuff. Let's just talk about Mbenga for a minute, right? Since you brought that up. He is such a fascinating character. He is not like any other character. I don't think he's like any other character we've seen on Trek. I know his voice is hard sometimes. It's difficult to hear. It's such a unique, deep, grovelly, kind of soft but hard voice. It's fantastic. I could listen to him read a children's book and put me to sleep. But he's also a scary dude. Like he's a very different character of any Trek character we've really ever had.
Yeah.
In terms of the way they're putting in the depth and the backstory and what he's done. Now, I want to question one part of that, though, as far as him being the ghost of Bengal or Bajal, or whatever it was called.
Do we have the log lines? Do we
I
have
do.
a synopsis of the
Yeah,
episode?
Yeah. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, they actually
I have some
out.
questions too. But
Yeah.
Okay. So the log line is Captain Pike and his crew welcome a Klingon defector on board the USS Enterprise, but his presence triggers the revelation of some shocking secrets.
Yeah. So
that's it.
It's a great episode. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to pick a few things apart that I have an issue with. I like Mbenga. I like his backstory. I like who he is and what he's done. I think it's all a really fantastic arc for a doctor, right? However, they keep building up how traumatic this war was and how traumatized people are. It was a two week freaking war or something like that. Like didn't last that damn long. From what we got of it in Discovery, it didn't last very long.
I don't know, man. That first season Discovery seems to last forever.
Yeah. That's true.
So.
But I mean, like, it was short. It was a short war. It was not a long war. And every time they talk about it in Strange New Worlds, they make it sound like it was this hell nightmare. And I'm sure it was, even if it was for the one day that they had hell, right? But I mean, there's a weird juxtaposition there.
But it was
very traumatic.
It was a war with Klingons who do not fight wars the way that others fight wars. Okay.
Sure.
And they made mention of it in this episode where the guy was saying they just wouldn't let me die. They just wouldn't let me die. They maimed him and kept him alive, made sure that he felt pain. And they've even discussed this in past series when they were preparing for the Klingons to invade Deep Space Nine. They were briefing the Starfleet officers and telling them Klingons prefer to use edged weapons, which means they enjoy what they're doing. They enjoy inflicting pain and damage upon the enemy. So even if you had Starfleet officers there who had been in other wars, I think the point was this is not a war like any other war they fought because it's Klingons.
Sure.
And I would say, Chad, the length of something doesn't equate to the amount of trauma that is done. Like, people can lose somebody close to them, right? That death is a quick thing, but that trauma can last for a long time.
Yes.
Right. So that
I agree.
That doesn't make a difference.
I suppose.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a brutal war. They all had a hard time with it. I watched the Will Wheaton show, of course. They interviewed Mbenga and Ortegas. Both really great interviews. Typically, I tell you guys to avoid that show, but both those interviews were really great. What we learned was in real life, Babs, the actor who plays Mbenga, knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and is pretty good at it. So that's cool. And then Erica, or Ortegas, the actress who plays Ortegas, what was interesting that she talked about, and man, that interview was really sad. She lost her partner in between seasons. So season 1, her partner was there with her, Brian, and then season 2, he was gone. And so talked a lot about how, especially in this episode, there were a lot of times like she was just a wreck and then had to pull herself together to shoot a scene and then went right back to being a wreck because everything was still fresh for her.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So I have some questions story-wise, things that I'm not sure quite make sense to me. And maybe I'm just not processing it right. But M'Benga is a doctor. Right? But they lead us to believe he has this past where he is this special forces assassin badass. And I can't make those two things merge in my head.
I can't.
How is he a doctor and an assassin? I don't understand. And if so, how long ago? They make it sound like, well, that's what I used to do, but now I'm a doctor. Okay. So how much time passed between your assassin days and the beginning of your doctoring days? And what war was that? Was that a different war? Was it the same war? Has it been going on longer than we think? What's the make it make sense for me, please?
So there's two ways you can look at it, right?
Okay.
And so there's the way I look at it, which I think is probably the right way. Then there's the way to look at it where I think is what Paramount or whatever executives will wind up doing, which is okay, but it's the wrong way. So the right way is he was part of a special forces unit and he was a medic, or he was a trained medic of some kind, was very, very good at it and was able to do that, whatever he was doing on the special forces side, while he was becoming a doctor at the same time, because he's clearly extremely smart, right? So I think it's more of he was the guy who would patch you up in the field kind of thing, not just a straight assassin all solo kind of stuff, but he was also very good at it while doing the dual track of winding up being a doctor. And you learn a lot when you're in the field and you're just trying to save someone's freaking life, right? So I think those things can both be true. And he is an older guy in the show, or plays a little bit of older character in the show. So I think there's plenty of time in the past to have had those parallel tracks develop.
Yeah, like in his early 20s, he was all that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and for it to shift completely because of everything that he says, right? So it could have been a very short amount of time, as we just said a minute ago, short time, but very traumatic. And also where he was very good at it, and then decided he just couldn't do that anymore, and then moved over to the doctor's
he maybe
side.
did it for a year or two,
years,
hated it, and then
it could have been 20 years in the past. Who knows? But he also developed that serum. We come to find out that he's the one who developed that, right? And so this goes back to my thought process of these dual tracks, and he's very smart. And he's doing all these things. Yeah, a military Dr. Mash kind of thing. Sure, Daryl.
Yeah, no, I get that. But, Klinger wasn't running out there and mowing down enemy troops, and neither was Hawkeye.
No.
You're in the military, but you are a doctor.
The other, so that's the way I think it probably should be written, and just think of it that way. But I think what the Paramount people, exec people, whatever, will wind up doing is somehow put it in there that the reason all that's true is because he was a part of Section 31.
That's what I was going to say. 100% that's what they're going to do.
Which I don't want to hear him do.
Every season now, he has to have an episode where he is suffering horribly, right? Because last season,
he's the Miles O'Brien.
Yeah, well, they all are.
They all are, but yeah.
Because last season was his daughter. This season is this. So next season, it'll be his Section 31 recruiter shows up and tests him in some way.
Yeah.
So they kind of cheapened a later episode with what they did here. So it's the 24th century where we find out that in the 23rd century, Scotty locked himself in the transporter for 80 years and was able to survive. And it was this amazing thing that no one had ever thought of. But because Scotty is so amazing, he he crisscrossed these two wires and figured out how to do it. Then we come to find out that M'Benga was doing it, a few years earlier, decades earlier. Okay, he kept it a secret because he developed it to save his daughter, and it was a secret that she was stuck in the transporter anyway. And then this episode, which is a few years earlier than that, you find out that I do this all the time. Everybody knows how to do this. Just load him into the buffer and then delete the transport, and he'll just sit there with the hourglass spinning until we call him back out.
Right.
So they kind of cheapen the later things by doing that.
I mean, I agree with that, but when how you break that down, I do agree with you, Dan. However, when I was watching the episode, I didn't get that as a takeaway with how he worded it to Chapel. I took that away as he wasn't saying that he tells everybody that, and I don't think he ever says that everybody knows how to do that. I think that's a conversation.
No, but he didn't.
Chapel.
He didn't hide it from her.
No, he didn't hide it from her because they had a close relationship. That's someone
they
knew.
They knew each other a day and a half at that point.
Well, we don't know how much time had progressed there on that planet with all those little cutscenes back and forth of when they're there. I think they were establishing that over time. Yeah, that I mean, these two have a deep relationship now in the current time of the show, right? And so I think they were. It could have been a few weeks, but again, as Dan said before, time doesn't really matter. It's the trauma instant, right? So they probably became very close allies in that camp pretty quickly, and he's trusting her to do something, but he's also later on showing her that we're doing it to save lives until we can't do it to save lives, and he hits the button and kills that guy.
If this is a technique that is known to medical professionals, this is a potentially life-saving technique that we can do. If you can't treat them now, you lock them in the pattern buffer until you can. The idea that they would then keep that to themselves for decades is unrealistic.
It's a fair point.
One of them would immediately write a paper on it and submit it for publication.
Yeah. As like some sort of medical.
Yeah.
Don't treat your patients. Just put them in the transporter buffer until a cure comes out.
Well, no, if they come in on Saturday, you put them in the buffer, you treat them on Monday.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly,
it's a great way to get out of your chores for the weekend.
Dan, honestly, I don't think it cheapens it because he did that to his daughter as well. He kept her in the buffer.
I think it cheapens the TNG episode Relics.
Right.
Where 100 and something years later, Geordi, who knows everything about transporters, is like, you did what?
Yeah.
Well, it's a rewrite of history for sure. It's a rewrite of history.
They've given themselves that out now that they can change everything and anything. And
that's true. Yeah. That's true.
So
that's true, Pavel. Dr. Freeze did that for his wife. What about Cryo?
That's true. He was just stealing diamonds and keeping his wife alive. That it is what it is.
Happy hour starts in 20, but this procedure takes an hour. Into the buffer you go.
I picture Darth Vader on Bespin where he just says, "Put him in."
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, it'd be like what was that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Running Man, right? Where it's a competition now for who dies and all that. This could be like the thing, like a dystopian future where the doctors have a big spinning wheel. I don't know. Do we treat him or do we put him in the buffer? Spin the wheel. Find out tonight.
So this Klingon guy, it was a little tough to follow. That's the other thing. When you have to concentrate to understand the story, it kind of annoys me a little bit. So he was the general, and the way history recorded it, he killed his own men.
Correct. Because
for what purpose?
Because they failed and could not keep that area in Starfleet 1.
Okay.
So because they failed, he killed them.
And that's what history recorded. But what really happened is M'Benga killed all his men while he ran away.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And the shame he felt for retreating caused him to change his life and try to become a vessel of peace. And I'm making a cringing face.
Yeah.
For those watching the audio or listening to the audio.
No,
that doesn't make sense.
no.
To me.
My takeaway from it was, yes, he was running away because he was going to get killed by Mbenga.
Yeah.
But he got caught and they lost. So, and because
he got caught by who?
He got caught by the Federation because Starfleet won that battle, won that moon planet, whatever the hell they were on.
Yeah, whatever.
Did they say that he was caught? I didn't.
Yeah,
catch that.
they said he was certainly caught. Yeah. Oh yeah. At one point in the show, they do say that he was caught. So,
all right,
I
watched it twice and I missed that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I heard that he was caught at some point.
My thought is that he was running from the truth. And if he had stayed with the Klingons, they would have done some sort of investigation to figure out why he killed those people or whatever. And the truth would have come out, and that shame would have killed him, right? Literally, they would have killed him for cowardice, because that's what the Klingons do. So by being a diplomat and searching for peace, he could at least keep his life and be, what the Klingons would call a coward.
But he's a traitor at that point. He's a traitor to the Klingons. So
yes, he is, but he's also alive and renowned and catered to and seen as a butcher by his own people. And
right.
I just don't see. It doesn't make sense for me why the Federation would make this person an ambassador to speak on their behalf. It just doesn't make sense.
Because he's reformed, and they want to show that the Klingons can actually work with one. That's their whole thing, so that they can have a future with the Klingons instead of a future war with the Klingons. That's the whole thing, which is why it doesn't. I know I don't buy it either, and neither do the characters on the show, like Mbenga and Chapel and Ortegas. They don't buy it either,
right?
And they're correct because he's a fraud,
right?
Okay,
correct,
so imagine.
Okay.
I'm going to put it in perspective.
Okay.
Even though he's dead, imagine he was still alive.
Okay.
Osama bin Laden says he's sorry, and the United States makes him an ambassador to Saudi Arabia. Does that make one iota of sense anywhere in your head?
No, it doesn't. And I'm not saying that the writing of this was good.
And that's what I'm saying. The writing, yeah.
Okay. The storyline.
We can agree on that.
Yeah, the storyline reason wasn't great. No. But where they took it from there, I really liked. I liked that twist that it was Omega who was actually the butcher. I thought that was great and really well handled. Because up until that point in the episode, I was like, this is fine, but I wasn't loving it. But as soon as they did that turn, I thought it was great.
It's one of those things where they made this decision to make him the Federation ambassador to Kronos, and the story falls apart. Where if instead he was the Klingon ambassador to Earth, and they were escorting him to a state dinner on Vulcan or whatever, that totally makes sense. The idea that they make him working for the Federation, that's just where it falls apart for me.
You got to put up what Pavel said.
I didn't read it. I was.
That's
you got to
so
put
dumb.
That up.
No.
It's true. It's true though.
No, not really. It's true if you listen to Tucker Carlson all the time.
It's true if you know that whatever, dude, the lab was making that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that's funny statement. It's just a funny statement.
All right. This is why we've lost so many viewers.
Oh, for crying out loud! For making a joke.
It's a lot of them. Anyways, so the episode, I liked it a lot, man.
I did. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. Don't get me wrong. There were just some writing hiccups that seemed like were easy fixes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I got a you know how much I love the episode Pale Moonlight, and I got a Pale Moonlight vibe at the end when M'Benga was like, he started it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I enjoy, I like when they put our characters in interesting situations. Okay. And M'Benga and Pike have known each other for a long time. So much so that they call each other by their first names. They talk about how much time they've spent together. And Pike is the captain of the ship. He is 1000% in charge, but at the same time, you weren't there, man.
Yeah.
You weren't there.
Yeah.
So don't talk to me about certain things or tell me how I should feel about certain things. You're the captain of the ship, but you weren't there.
Yeah, because the Enterprise and Pike and the entire crew were totally MIA.
Right.
For the entire war. So ridiculous.
And I like seeing the juxtaposition of not only the captain of the ship, the highest guy on the ship wasn't there, but Uhura wasn't there either. And you can see her enthusiasm in having this Klingon general / diplomat on the ship. She's genuinely excited about it. And M'Benga, Ortega, Chapel, they want no part of it.
Well, what I like too is they the episode basically said that both point of views were completely valid. Like, yeah, he did horrible things and shouldn't be trusted to be in the position that he's in, but at the same time, people should get a chance to, get a second chance. So it's kind of hard. You didn't see that, Dan?
Oh no, I saw that. I'm saying I don't. I was making a face for those listening. I saw that. I understand the reference. I don't necessarily agree with it. Not everybody deserves a second chance.
I think that's what the episode was saying.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
I think that's what the episode was saying. Is like, what?
Remind me of this episode, Most Toys. Data definitely tried to shoot the guy from Most Toys.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Well, he's a machine, and he made a calculation, and he said, "There's no way I'm getting out of this. There's no way I'm getting out of this unless I kill this guy." And he's gonna continue to do bad things. So my one bad thing is going to prevent an infinite number of other bad things. So F it. I'm gonna shoot that guy.
Right. All right. Well, next week we have the musical episode.
And then we have one more after that, right?
Right, and that's it. Yeah. And then Lower Deck starts up in September.
Yeah, September 7th. I saw that.
Yeah. So, Chad, I know you're very excited for the musical episode.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Which
I've got some feedback on it, so I don't know.
Yeah,
that's next weekend.
Gentry's not too excited about it either.
Yeah, let's get into feedback.
Open hailing frequencies.
Hey! Frequencies open, sir.
Hey!
That's right.
Hey!
So I did put on a poll on the Instagram account and all the social medias. Overall, it's funny. The actual comments is far and away, I'm not excited about this thing at all.
Oh yeah.
But when I did a poll in the stories, far and away, it's I can't wait for this thing. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I'm not a musical guy, so I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on how they work it into the story, how they justify it.
Yeah.
In the story.
But I will say this. If you were to tell me, hey, there's going to be a Star Trek episode about baseball, right? I'd be like, man, that's so dumb. Why would there?
I'd be so excited.
Right, but not me.
Just to the opposition.
Guy. Right. But that's one of my favorite episodes, right? It's so goofy and funny.
Yeah.
So like I want to stay optimistic that, maybe I'll be surprised. I also think had we gone to STLV, every one of those songs would be screaming down all the corridors. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I do like your guys' suggestion though, where if it's music from all genres, right? Like we should see a Pike rap, and we should see a. That was your guys' suggestions.
I want
Western
Spock,
you know.
reggae.
Yeah. Actually, it should be hipster Spock, if anything.
Yeah,
I mean, he should be doing some sort of hipster song, but
you should sing "Push" by Matchbox 20.
There you go.
Nurse Chapel.
Yeah. Some Bush.
There you go. So we've got people waiting to talk, but I think you've got a voicemail, Judd.
I got multiple.
Oh snap!
Stuff, but it's from weeks and weeks. We're gonna play the latest.
Okay, let's do the latest.
Here we go.
Who's it from?
Hello, Trek fans. It's Timmy here from Sean by Sea, and just wanted to give my penny's worth about this week's episode in Strange New Worlds, Under the Cloak of War, episode 8. I really enjoyed this. I really liked this. This, I think, is what we've been waiting for in season 2. Personally, I think, with the exception of last week's episode, the crossover one, which was a bit of fun. It's been a poor season, but this, to me, was how I like Star Trek. Probably made you think, you know. In fact, so much so that I didn't really have many criticisms about it. I'm sure they're there, but when you're enjoying something, you don't notice these things. When you don't enjoy something and you're finding it boring, you're looking for all the shit that's in these episodes. But I've really enjoyed this one. I just wanted to make a couple of quick observations that I wrote down. I still think the scripting needs a bit of work sometimes. The big thing that popped out was there was a line where he says he gave orders to kill on sight after they've been tortured, which doesn't make sense. When you kill someone on sight, you kill them as soon as you see them. You don't torture them first and then kill them on sight. That's not how it works.
Kill him till he's dead, Timmy.
And yes, meat for the grinder. I noticed that a lot of these, the guy who went back out to the war, they were dressed in red, and you just knew that wasn't going to end up well. This armor that they wear in the war it was red, and you just knew it wasn't going to end up well, didn't you? I love Mbenga. He's turned into one of my favorite characters. I just love the way he talks. I just like his presence. I think he's a great character, and eventually he's going to have to go, isn't he? So he'll be missed. Yeah. And the only other thing, because I was watching, was Chapel is hot. I mean, she is proper hot. I drink her bath water. But
oh my God.
This is what I mean, you see. I couldn't criticize it because I was enjoying it so much. So yeah, just the odd little pointer here and there. So could we have more of this cerebral Trek, please? Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed last week's episode. Next week's episode, I'm not sure. I mean, I like musicals, but I don't know how it's going to work with Star Trek. If they make it like Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog from all those years ago, it'll probably be pretty good, but it's going to be pretty cringe. And I just know that everybody on Twitter is going to be going, the best episode ever! So I'm going to read it Twitter. And yeah, love to you all. Take care. Many thanks. Love you. Bye.
She's absolutely right. There's going to be a whole section of people on Twitter who are just going to be praising this thing.
Oh, for sure.
It's the best thing since Roe v. Wade was put into place. I mean,
yeah.
What?
I know. He
I said that
driving him
Daniel.
away.
I said it for Daniel. Daniel.
So you know what I would like to see? At some point. I love every time Clint Howard pops up. I would love to see him play someone who's just not a weirdo. I would love to just a normal guy.
Yeah.
I want to see him play Admiral Howard or something. And he's just an admiral. He's just a regular guy, and he pops up on the screen. He gives you some orders, and he talks like a regular person, and that's it. I feel like every time you see him, he's some, wacky weirdo.
What if that's
He's
not
a
acting?
wackadoodle.
That's just the way he is.
That's just the way he is.
All right, maybe.
It's like Christopher Walken. Like you can try to make him act, but
Yeah,
he's just gonna be Christopher Walken.
that's true. He talks the way he talks.
That's right. It's pretty good.
Crazy.
Paul was 100%
That's
right.
good.
The next episode is for all the theater kids. 100%. It is for all the theater
probably.
kids. Yeah. But do you got any more voicemails or?
I think I do. I'm not really sure what this is, so I'm gonna play it and then maybe pause it really quick if it's
Yeah, if it's like a telemarketer.
someone asking me for money. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh.
due to the Screen Actors Guild strike, the following review was written by a non-affiliated third party under the Sentient Hologram and Android Writers of Federation Guild.
Mm.
And now, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 5, Charades,
Old.
a Pack-led review. Fox Mom has big boobs. Thank you for listening to a Pack-led review.
You're not wrong, but
There you go.
Oh my Lord.
There you go.
okay.
Those are the two I had. Those are the two I
Nice.
had. Yeah,
Nice.
we,
All right.
I could go back for an older one from Timmy, but maybe we should like post that as a separate like special gem on.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's bring in Chazbiz. He's been waiting, and then we'll bring in Strongbeard after. Man, it's all like darkness. Like you're.
I forgot to turn the lights on.
Oh, that's why.
That's okay. So first question for you, Chaz, as a loyal listener to the show. Now that I'm here today and Scott is not over the last 2 weeks, am I driving you away?
No, you're not driving me away. I'm not running away. I'm not canceling my subscription or anything. Gonna burn my hat now. So just stomp on it. It's like Chad is always wrong.
Hey, it's been so long. I had to live up my moniker. Anyway, how's it going, Chaz?
It's going great. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
I know you guys. So nobody's going to Vegas this year, right?
No.
No.
Okay.
Team Strongbeard.
And it's Scott. Yeah. Are you gonna go to Vegas?
No, well,
No.
I have family coming in. I wanted to go, but we have family. But now I'm kind of glad I'm not going. So,
Yeah.
but next year, I really want to be there.
That's the plan.
So next year, I want to see that big sphere in Vegas to check that thing out.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah, my
it's been-
buddy who lives there was saying that like to drive to it, like it's bumper to bumper traffic,
oh,
and
yeah.
it's really not worth it because it's so big. You can see it from further away.
Yeah.
And
It's got to be
fine.
distracting as all hell while you're driving.
Oh yeah, you know it is.
Yeah.
You can. Where exactly is it? Like
I don't
in
know
relation
exactly
to
where.
the.
Is it off the strip?
Like-
I guess
It's
or-
on the strip somewhere. I don't know where.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the
If
strip
you've
is
been to
pretty
Vegas a lot,
small,
you could always
really.
take the back roads and
Yeah.
go
You'll
around.
you'll see it as the plane's landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my friend
It's
was
that
saying that
big.
like there's a parking garage that's like right across the street from it, just about.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you just go to the top level, you can see it just fine, and you get a better view because like, you know, you're down at street level looking up at it, like
Mhm.
sit in the front row of the movie theater.
Mm.
Yeah,
Whereas
that'd
you
be
know,
cool.
up on the parking garage, you get a good view.
Yeah, I'm ready
So.
to check that thing out. The only
Yeah,
thing
that's
is,
cool.
I hate the Star Trek conventions in August in Las Vegas, and it's what 115, 120 degrees there.
Yeah.
In the that's in the shade.
And that's in the
dry
shade.
heat.
It
It's
was
a dry heat.
heat. But if you've been out there, you know how hot it is. And then
Oh,
you go
I
in
know.
the pool.
I know.
It's like somebody pissed in the pool, and you're just floating in it.
Everybody pees in the pool.
Yeah.
Well,
there.
And-
the total shitty thing is I'm actually going to wind up being in Vegas probably in late September, first week of October for work.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's
Like,
good.
why can't these things line
Yeah.
up? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Because if you go
Yeah.
that time,
Well, I have
you
a-
can swim, and it's actually
Yeah.
cooler water.
I have an airline credit now, so maybe I'll join you.
There you go. I've got an airline credit too.
Yeah, has to be used
Yeah.
by May because that's when I
Oh,
ordered the tickets.
Oh, mine's got to be used by April.
Yeah.
Well, does it mean you have to be booked by then or just actually used?
No, I have to use it by then.
Mm.
So
Oh,
If-
shit,
if-
guys.
if there's another convention somewhere else before then that you guys are interested in, let me know. Because
isn't there the big one in New York?
Like 2 years ago, we went to. Yeah, I'm not flying to New York though.
I know.
I'm gonna fly from Albany to New York City.
That's right.
The plane's gonna go up. It's gonna level out for a second, and then it's gonna land.
Yep.
Yeah, but like Chicago, if something else like that comes up, like 2 years ago, I'd be down for Grand Rapid. Oh, is Team Scott going to be there? Team Scott Bowders?
I think Scott's trying to take over the group, guys.
Scott
is.
Scott Bowders.
He's trying to weasel his way in.
He's waiting to talk after you. So
yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be terrible if we ran out of time and couldn't get him on.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, Chad's like, oh, we gotta go.
Yeah. Dan, I got a question for you, Dan. Are you gonna get a burgundy gi like in Vega? Like,
I did think of Dan when we were karate fighting.
I was looking at him and I'm like, he looks sharp.
Yeah.
He looks sharp. And then I'm thinking, I'm looking at the burgundy outfit and I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure Riker wears that at night when, a lady's coming over. Like he answers the door in that, except it's not tied in the front. You can see his chest hair all the way down.
I was thinking something else wasn't tied up front. So.
Well,
did Worf have a burgundy gi?
No, Worf wore the white.
He had white.
It was a white type uniform, which looks like a karate uniform with no belt. So when I looked at myself at the first class I went to, when I looked at myself in the mirror with no belt, my mind immediately went to I look like Worf, which is kind of cool to think that you look like a Klingon warrior.
Right now, here, I'll show it to you guys. It's white, but it has a burgundy stripe on it.
Okay.
So you can kind of see it right there.
Is that because he was the teacher? Maybe.
Maybe
because I can remember the others.
What about the Ambo Jitsu one where Riker's wearing
the ultimate combat?
Yeah, where they're wearing the weird helmet that you can see themselves.
I can't wait for Dana White's Ambu, whatever it was.
Yeah, Ambu Jitsu or whatever. Yeah. Some made up word. So, and
nice.
I think the war. They should have had the battle armor like the security officers did, like on the older series in the movies. That awful like leather football helmets. Just make a play on that, like just how awful it looked.
I just love how much they're backing away from all the ships having 1 million drones.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Right.
And okay. Yeah. Another thing is, if you put people in the pattern buffers, right? Like if they're sick, hurt, blah blah blah. Why don't they put the prisoners in there and they won't escape the ship? Like every time I hold a prisoner on the ship, guess what happens? Security officer
because it's a secret.
Yeah,
because it's a secret.
So
here's the problem with the whole pattern buffer thing.
Okay,
you start going down that rabbit hole, Chaz, like you just said.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just have them in a thumb drive in your pocket?
Yeah. Something.
Yeah.
Literally carrying around.
Or why would you?
Honey,
why would you store?
Vacation.
Why would you physically?
Yeah.
Why would you physically store anything anywhere if you could put it in the pattern buffer?
Why would you have a crew?
That's
the
problem.
To a place.
Exactly. You go down this entire rabbit hole. It's like, we're going on a vacation, everybody. I got the USB. Everybody get on the buffer. All your stuff. We're going to put you all in here, and then I'm going to take the shuttlecraft all the way there, and then we'll I'll beam you back out.
And you don't have to feed them or anything. They're just all
exactly. It's like,
you break everything.
Man, we could email ourselves to Vegas. That would be awesome. And then it doesn't matter if you have to work Monday morning.
Damn, I accidentally throw in thumb drives all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where's cousin Timmy? Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
What happened to your wife? I washed my pants. I left the thumb drive in the pocket.
Yeah.
She got corrupted. She got corrupted in the dryer.
Ooh, you know what's even better? This only I would think of this.
Okay.
every morning you put your wife into the pattern buffer and take her back out with just a copy of her without her knowing it. And if you screw up that day, you just get the old one.
So you
always have a happy wife, man.
You restore your wife to a previous
version. Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
What if your wife has
so
that
your
as
wife
you?
will never get old? So
that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, look, wife, you're just never getting old. So
I wonder what I wonder what Scott thinks about all this. Too bad we're out of time.
Too bad.
I would have loved to get his perspective.
It would be so interesting.
It would be great.
Yeah. Jasmine, anything else?
Maybe next week.
This protocol 12 or whatever it is.
Yeah, his serum.
Yeah, this super serum. It's like, how far are they going to go?
Speed?
With super serum.
Yeah.
Protocol
cocaine. What is it?
Yeah. Or
angel dust.
It's angel. You want to get wet?
Is he going to die somehow? And that's how Bones takes.
Oh, he's going to die from complications from taking it as many times as he has. That's why he constantly is grabbing his heart, having those issues. I took that completely away. That's how he ends. He ends from complications.
Yeah, plus he's the doctor, and he's not going to admit that he has a problem.
Exactly.
You think he's gonna end up in the nebula with his daughter because of it?
That'll probably be the end.
I think they'll forget all about that and not do that, even though that's a good idea.
Yeah. And it's weird. I don't remember them mentioning that Nurse Chapel served with him last year either.
They mentioned that they had a relationship. Like they
did.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
They've
hinted at something.
She has been calling him Joseph regularly from the beginning, which the relationship between a doctor and a nurse, that is uncommon for a nurse to feel that she can call a doctor by his first name.
Yeah. And then
let's be real, she's not a nurse.
Yeah.
I mean, she's basically a doctor.
Yeah, she's trying to do these fellowships with the Vulcans.
A nurse practitioner, pretty much.
She's got this weird uniform compared to everybody else, although we did see somebody else in that same uniform finally, like one time in passing, either this episode or the one before, one of the two. I remember seeing, I think it was the Boimler episode, where I saw someone walking out in that outfit, and it wasn't Nurse Chapel, but she wears a totally different outfit than everybody else.
Well, you have
because she's not in Starfleet or whatever the weird thing was.
Yeah. And you got to think they're doing different shifts. There's probably more than one doctor too on the ship. You'd have to have. Like,
I don't know what the deal is with her now, because she's not wearing a Starfleet uniform. I originally had the feeling, okay, she's a civilian working on a Starfleet vessel, but she's not a Starfleet officer at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
But then we see a flashback where she's in a war zone. You don't send civilians into a war zone.
Yeah.
Well, I think what we have talked about before, and I think our consensus was before on that, was she's more of like a Doctors Without Borders kind of thing.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
And so that's like why she was in a war zone as well as on the Enterprise now, because this is after the war. And so things haven't really gone back to being integrated yet, because
almost like Starfleet Medical has two divisions, right? Like they have the Starfleet side, and then they have like a civilian side.
Yeah, so she's the civilian side.
At some point, she's got to become a full member of Starfleet. She has to be. So at some point, that's got to change in their storyline.
Yeah. And what was I going to say? Right. Now I messed up. My brain went blank. Like the episode overall, I hated that he killed him at the end. I wish, something would have. Maybe they could have solved it. Maybe he got arrested for his war crimes, and
Oh, I like the fact that he killed him at the end. I don't like the fact that it was just like, we're gonna just sweep that under the rug.
Well, they
big
ended
diplomat,
it so quick.
Big ambassador.
They really, I think they deballed Pike this year. He's not really
big time.
Captain. Like he's not the captain. He's not. He just lets everybody do whatever. He looks. Spock.
He's just like, you silly rascals, and walks away.
Yeah, he's like, quit.
Yeah, he really doesn't have. He doesn't take a position on authority very much.
Yeah.
So another issue I had. Klingons are supposed to be significantly stronger than humans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that judo match just looked awkward.
Yeah. It's like, is he throwing
It did
blue
look awkward.
barrels at him or what? You know, it's just that's all I can think of. It's like just to defeat a Klingon, find a blue barrel and throw it at their back, and I'll break their
There you
back.
go.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It wasn't for someone who's as good at that in real life as he is. It was an awkward fighting scene for multiple reasons. To even taking out the fact that Klingons are way stronger than humans, it looked awkward.
Yeah.
well, you remember
To
when
me.
Jadzia and Worf would do it, they'd come back with bruises, you know?
Yeah.
And
Plus, the
so, I mean,
idea of Klingon judo is kind of strange. The whole thing with judo is it's not striking, it's grappling and throwing.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And trapping your opponent, which kind of seems like the antithesis to how a Klingon would engage in combat.
Well, they
Not to
probably
mention to be a
ripped their
piece
head
of
off,
cake for a
too.
Klingon, because you just grab them and then just pick them up and then
Yeah.
just throw them. Like, I'm done. This is really easy stuff,
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
And Disco, they missed the plot too of the war. Like they had this great thing of the war, and they just completely screwed it up.
Yeah.
Like barely just brushed by, like, oh, there's this big war here, but we're gonna warp over here, or basically we're gonna go into the mirror universe and do this thing, then come back. And that was kind of confusing because they wrapped the whole war up too quick on Disco, I thought.
oh, way too.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, the war's over. Like you didn't even show the war. This is crazy. This is like they always mention it, but all of a sudden it's over. It was like a skirmish, really.
Yeah. Well, that and we're used to DS9 where the war was what, like 4 seasons? 5
Yeah.
seasons?
Well, it felt
Almost.
like a war.
Yeah.
It did. Like
Well-
even when they fought the Klingons, like you felt the
Yeah.
trauma of some of those guys.
It almost makes me wish, even though they screwed up so many things for so many people, it makes me wish that side project where those guys were trying to make a movie on the side, even with
Mhm.
some past Trek actors about the
yeah.
war.
That'd be great.
That- As much as
like
I hate
filler
for what those guys
episode.
did to all the copyright stuff, I really enjoyed what they had. I was starting to enjoy what they were putting together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What was the name of that group? I forget the name of that group now, but
Oh, I know you're talking about.
probably upsets Dan when I mention it because he was upset about those guys. So sorry, man.
Okay. Well, Chazbiz, thanks for being
It's all
on.
good.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess we still got time, so we'll bring
Scott?
him in. Scott's here.
Yay!
Yay! I guess.
How's it going, man?
Good. Hey, thanks once again, Chad. Thanks for covering for me. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome anytime.
It's great. One of the things I want to mention, Nurse Chapel. I sort of see her as like a field specialist. I think she's in Starfleet. I just think that she's got a specialty outside of the nursing thing. Because a nurse here, in 2023 in the United States, that can be a 4 or even a 6-year degree.
Mhm.
Just like a physician's assistant. And I kind of see her as a nurse / scientist. So, she could have gotten her nursing degree and then she could have gone to like the MIT equivalent and gotten her master's in a subsection of whatever, some kind of medical thing. So yeah, just because
That's
she's
very
not a
possible.
doctor.
Yeah.
But I do see her as part of Starfleet. I don't know exactly what the canon says about her. Like I said last week, I've made it through about halfway through The Cage so far in my attempt to rewatch the original series. So we're getting there. I'll probably give you guys an
Slowly but
update by
surely.
Christmas.
There you go. On the first
So-
episode, anyway.
There you go.
And I will have a pack-led review ready for you probably in a week or two. I didn't want to overload with pack-led reviews because I knew there was one coming up in the voicemail. And I honestly, this episode, I didn't really have the heart to do a pack-led review because
No, not for this.
this
one.
episode was, I'm a veteran,
Right.
and although I didn't see the kind of action that they saw in this episode. I know people who have, and this really struck a chord with me, as I'm sure it has anybody who's been in a combat situation or been overseas. And I just wanted to one of the things I wanted to say, since there's an outlet here for it, is just to mention the veteran crisis hotline.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is dial 988 and press 1, and you'll get to somebody to help you out. Or you can text 838-255. Go to the VA, go to the DAV. Anybody dealing with PTSD or anything like that. So
also 988 is the National Crisis Lifeline as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought this was a fantastic episode. It did bring back memories of Pale Moonlight and the siege of AR, whatever the episode was.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think, and it makes me wonder if what kind of people they have to give them advisors for these kinds of episodes, if they do have any military guys on staff or anything like that. But
I don't think they do, because they wear flashlights on either side of their head.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and they're still doing it in this episode too. Yes.
Are you saying that's not tactical?
It is not tactical,
but it's fashion.
Okay, gotcha. But
and
as far as the musical episode,
you're so excited, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to reserve judgment.
Yeah.
I used to hate musicals, and now I kind of like musicals. I sort of did stage crew in high school for our musicals, so I have a love-hate relationship with them. If they do it right.
What's your favorite musical, Scott?
Well, some of the ones that I worked on were like Hello Dolly, Crazy for You.
Okay.
I did a civic production of The Wizard of Oz. So,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, so they can be fun, and if done in the right way, there's two theories of how they're going to do it. Either they're going to have a musical for musical sake, and it's just going to be a one-off, which would be weird. Or like we talked about last week, it's going to be some sort of that wave that went through the ship in the preview. Looks like it affected them somehow. So maybe it's a Darmok type of situation where that's how the alien's going to communicate.
It'd be kind of fun if they did like they could only sing like classic rock songs, or like Galaxy of the Guardians type songs.
Right. Now I do have a request. Please let Gentry do a quick reaction to this episode.
Oh yeah,
I would love that.
If you
that would be
fantastic.
Yeah, Gentry, if you're listening, please.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
He seemed to have. He felt some kind of way about this.
Yes. Not well.
So, right. So yeah, looking forward to the episode, and I know we've only got 2 left.
Yeah.
2 left.
The musical and then the final.
Okay, so
Yeah.
A little bit of a break, and we go.
It's been a good season. It hasn't been as good as season 1.
No,
I think that's the general reaction. But they're still finding their footing, and we'll see where
Let Mike Medina do a quick.
Let Mike Medina do one. Oh my gosh.
Oh, absolutely. He needs to come on the show, Mike.
Yeah,
you need to come
Mike
on the
does.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For people who don't pay attention to the Facebook group, Mike is in there quite a bit, and has some interesting takes from time to time.
Always has something to say.
Always.
Absolutely. Oh, that's what I love about this community.
Yeah,
it's great. I love it when people like Chad guest host. It's awesome.
It is. We're thinking about having him on again.
That's great. Yeah. Hey, you're doing a good job, Chad.
We're gonna talk about it, and we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So I guess we'll get with Dan and Daniel. I'll get with you offline about what we're going to talk about next week.
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks for being on, Strongbeard.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
See you, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, yeah. Anything else we want to bring up?
Yeah. If you're at a train station with Scott, Chad, don't stand. Don't stand near the tracks.
Yeah, not at all.
Oh man. What happened to Chad? I don't know. He said he couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Jumped right in front of the train.
The guest hoster is wrong a lot.
It's awesome.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate it. I missed this. I needed it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a good show. Appreciate it.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
All right. Bye.
See you guys.
This is Captain Benjamin Sisko of Deep Space Nine and Space God to the Bajorans. I have a mission for you. This falls outside of Starfleet guidelines. So I can't order you, but I'm asking for volunteers. Volunteers who will subscribe to the Trekcast YouTube channel, leave 5-star reviews on your podcast app of choice, and share Trekcast across your social media accounts. If we can make our audience bigger, we might have a chance against the Dominion. Are you ready? Subscribe, like, and share. Are you with me?